Are you seeing this? I'll give you something new. Bliss 4 Premium Condoms is the only brand that comes with 4 pieces in a pack. Because we know she'll be begging for more. So why stop at 3? This guy is made by the biggest maker of condoms in the world. And he knows exactly what you need. With an amazing quality that you can trust and feel, Bliss wants what's best for you. And for that much-awaited sexy time. Don't panic if you won't have enough. We make sure you're always wrapped.
Oh yeah.
So make sure you do it on the bed. Bang in the car. Or be sneaky in the shower. Be confident you're this protected. Those first 3 words, ignite it with 4.
Yeah. Oh,
Don't settle for 3. Bliss 4 Premium Condoms.
Why go invisible when you can glow? Premier Condoms.
Wow, I love this place. Very neat, so fab. Oh, may lamok. May lamok. OMG, may lamok. Baka may nalang HIV sa mga lamok. Huwag kang OA. Hindi nakukuha sa lamok o sa alagang hayop ang HIV. Hindi rin ito nakukuha sa laway, luha, o kiss. Kahit hiramin mo pa ang kutsara, tinidor, baso, at plato ng taong may HIV, hindi ka pa rin mahahawa. At saka, as I was saying, meron lamang 3 modes ng transmission ng HIV. Una, pagdagalit ng walang proteksyon. Pangalawa, dugo. Madalas gamit ang maruming syringe. At pangatlo, mother to child. Habang pinagbubuntis, pinapanganak, at pinapasmuso si baby. Yun, girl, hindi lamok. Bakla ka na ito. Ayan, it's a propellant ka. At dahil alam mo na, safer now ka na sa HIV. Safe ka pa sa lamok. Wow! Pipino! Ang laki naman yan, kuya. Try mo na, sulit. Kasya ba? Walang ganun, Mars! Dahil ang condom ay may taglay na elasticity. Actually, may iba't ibang sizes ng mga condom. Simula sa cute na siling pangsigang hanggang sa pangmalakasang pipinong dark. At kung size ang pag-uusapan, wala tayong problema dyan. Lagyan mo na rin ng pampadulas para pasok agad ang suki mong presyong divisoria! Try mo na rin mag-PrEP or pre-exposure prophylaxis para kapag nandyan na ang mga suki ay die panalo ka. Oh, o diba, Kasha? Size doesn't matter, but your safety does.
I am a woman and I am strong.
Our society is never just a man's world. Women are empowered, and we are no different. We can do roles that were usually assigned to men. We are perfectly fit to fulfill these jobs. We are responsible for our bodies because we do care for our health. We deserve equal rights and equal opportunities. We don't deserve to be discriminated nor disrespected, even for our sexual health choices. We break free from the past. We are the women of the 21st century.
Own your beautiful body and keep yourself protected with PrEP every day. With PrEP, you're safer now.
I am a woman, and I am valid. Our society evolves to more than just a two-gender world. We can fulfill roles regardless of our gender. We definitely exist as an important part of our developing society. We are not limited by our gender transition. We do care for our well-being. Thus, we must be respected for our life choices, transition journey, and sexual health. We break free from the norms. We are the women of the 21st century.
Good evening, everyone. Happy International Women's Day to all women of different experiences. I am Janlee and I am a woman of today's generation. And that's a fact because I know that facts always matter to you.
Magandang gabi sa iyo, Advocacies Janlee and Advocacies Peachy. Ang ganda ng woman of today's generation.
Good evening and happy International Women's Day, Advocacies and Mars.
Good evening to everyone.
Yes. At sa lahat ng mga nanonood, Happy International Women's Day sa ating lahat. Ako pa rin po ang inyong Miss Trans Global 2020 Mela Habijan. At dahil International Women's Day, mabuhay ang lahat ng mga kababaihan, hindi lamang sa Pilipinas, kung hindi sa buong mundo. Mabuhay din ang mga Pilipinong nagsusulong ng kabutihan at pagmamahal para sa aming mga Eva. Dahil iba't iba ang uri ng pagmamahal ng mga Eva sa mundo. At mabuhay din ang lahat ng mga taong nagsusulong ng katotohanan para sa lahat ng kababahian at mamamayan. Because facts always matter to us.
Correct ka dyan, Maring Mela. And hello, Maring Janlee.
Hi, Mars Peachy. Gustong-gusto ko naman ang look mo tonight. Napaka mayumi.
Oo, kasi nga, remember that think before you click.
May hangover ka pa ng last episode.
Di ba naka-move on? Pero syempre, di ba, at dahil nga kakaibang Eva tayo ngayong gabing ito, at nagtirintas tayo, mukha tayong papunta na sa Ana to, no?
Tamang-tama, sikat si Elsa ngayon. Si Ana at si Elsa ngayon.
Correct. Oo, pero parang Ana na papunta na sa Elsa droga na itsura.
Parang pa Annabel Rama.
Correct. Oo. Pero bago nila makalimutan ang aking pangalan, my name is Peachy Roberts. At syempre, ang Level Up na baklang kanal na nagsusulong ng pantay na karapatan at oportunidad for all women, for all people. Kailangan may ganong diin. At syempre, di ko muna kayo uunahan sa mga synthesis, mga Mars. Syempre, dahil nga na hindi ko nakalimutan and think before you click, 'di ba? At meron akong gustong sabihin na all women, cis or trans are valid and strong and must be freed to live their truths wherever universe they live, because truth be told, facts always matter to the entire universe. And welcome to
Fact you!
Ayan. So, kamusta naman? Kamusta ang International Women's Day, aking advocacies at kumare?
Well, it's been a productive day for me. Ang daming ganap today.
Mukhang umaga hanggang ngayon.
Mula umaga hanggang ngayon. Actually, natulog lang ako ng 1 oras bago tayo umere ngayong araw na ito. But I think, yun naman yung masaya nung advokasya natin. That's why we're always...
Maria, yan na ba yung 1 hour na natulog?
Oo, bakit?
Ako nga 24 hours natulog, walang gandang lumabas.
Alam mo, next kong payo sa'yo, Mars, inom ka ng tubig. Pag hindi na effective yung tubig, dasal na lang talaga.
Yun nga, sinabayan ko na, pwede ba makitulog sa hinihigaan mo? Sakaling pagbangon ko ay maging Miss Trans Global 2021 na ako.
Ay, naku talaga, ikaw ang pambato namin, Mars. Alam mo yan.
Pambato o panabla?
Bahala ka kung paano ka magpa-perform, pero binibigyan ka namin ng chance, ha?
Ayan.
Pero yun nga, I guess siguro masaya lang tong araw na ito dahil una, ang sarap ng pakiramdam na na-acknowledge ang iyong pagkababae ng lahat ng mga taong nagmamahal sa'yo. More importantly, nakikita nila ng iyong pagiging babae ay may kabuluhan na nagagawa rin para sa kanila. So I think it has been a happy celebration so far on my end. At itutuloy-tuloy natin ang kasiyahan ngayon sa Fact You.
Correct. Oo. At syempre, dumadagdag ang ating mga viewers ngayon. Binabati natin yung ating 15,000 viewers. And please, don't forget to share ang ating episode ngayon dahil makikita nyo, malalaman nyo lahat-lahat ang mga ang mga kakaibang Eva. Di ba? Ngayong gabing ito. At dahil maraming great women ang nag-influence sa ating buhay, so panahon naman natin na i-influence ang ating mga friends and relatives by sharing, of course, our episode tonight. So comment down below if you have questions or insights sa episode natin. Siyempre, don't forget to share, like, spaces.manila sa kanilang Facebook account.
Yes. So, salamat Maring Peachy at Advocacies Mela at sa lahat ng mag-share ng episode natin tonight. Thank you in advance. At simulan na natin ang ating discussions by contextualizing tonight's episode. So again, Eva't Evang Eva. So first, we will highlight women's rights because the truth of the matter is, while we have come a very long way in fighting for equal rights and opportunities for women, we still need to do more to achieve gender equality. So syempre, simulan natin sa history. Magkakaroon tayo ng very short history lesson para naman mas exciting and interesting. Then secondly, we will also put focus on inclusivity and diversity by also talking about different types of women, di ba? Women of different lived experiences. So, iisa-isahin natin din yan mamaya sa pamamagitan, of course, ng ating guests at ng inyong hosts. And lastly, we aim to empower women to be themselves no matter what journey they choose to pursue and eradicate misogynistic ideologies and transphobia in society. So not to mention, of course, get rid of violence against women. So medyo siksik ang ating discussion ngayong gabi. Kailan naman tayo hindi naging siksik ang discussion? So, but ngayon ay very special dahil talagang sakto sa International Women's Day. Kaya naman, special ito sa ating mga puso.
At dahil espesyal ito sa ating mga puso, sobra akong na-excite, Advocacies Janlee, because I think this platform of ours have been a very good venue for us to talk about issues. And today, we shall highlight every single lived experience, as you've mentioned, of different women. And as we all know, we still have inequality and we still experience it because there is still violence against women. And let me just highlight some facts concerning these abuses that deprive women to grow and fulfill the best version of themselves. According to PSA or Philippine Statistics Authority, as reported in February 2020, bagong-bago ang statistics na ito, more women were raped, physically abused, sexually exploited, and trafficked in 2019. I just want to emphasize that in the same report, women who were victims of trafficking increased to 420, and that's a 66.7% increase from 252 women in 2018. Ganun kalaki ang dami ng mga kababaihang na abuso noong 2019. 222 women were sexually exploited, or 55.2% higher in 2018. Relatedly, 2,162 rape cases were reported to the police in 2019, or 30.6% higher than the 1,656 cases reported in 2018. Ito yung nakakalungkot at mga katotohanang dapat nating bigyan ng pansin sa mga oras na ito. And these are only a few of the data that show how women are treated inhumanely. Moreover, the United Nations even recognized that while there are increasing efforts in many countries to protect the rights of LGBTI people, such as lesbian women and trans women, the UN remains seriously concerned that around the LGBTI and their families face these perceived as LGBTI and their families face widespread human rights violations. The UN firmly believes that this is a great cause for alarm and action. Furthermore, based on the surveillance of Human Rights Campaign Group, at least 44 transgender or gender non-conforming people were fatally shot or killed by other violent means in 2020 alone. They say at least because too often and sadly, these stories go unreported or misreported. So the challenge is, there are more things that need to be done. But primarily, how do we help women eliminate misogyny so women can achieve their full potential?
Grabe naman pala yun. Ano yung mga data mo, Mare?
Diba? Grabe, as in, intense.
Correct. At feeling ko yan yung mga reported. Siyempre meron pang mga hindi nare-report dahil meron pa silang mga takot sa kanilang mga puso. 'Di ba? Na hindi nila alam kung paano sila lalabas or hihingi ng tulong, or meron bang mga tao na pwedeng tumulong sa kanila. 'Di ba? Siyempre ang masasabi ko lang na matulungan at maprotektahan itong isusulong at isulong ang boses ng mga kababaihan. So tulungan nyo kaming iparating ang mga mensahe sa lahat para matulungan natin ang lahat na bumangon mula sa nakasanayang higaan ng walang pakialam na mundo. Itag nyo ang mga kapatid, kaibigan, katrabaho, kapamilya at kakilalang mga babae sa episode natin ngayong gabi. Dahil Eva't Evang Eva man sila, iisa lang ang tugon natin para sa kanila. Pantay na karapatan para sa mga kababaihan. Sabi nga ng Philippine Commission on Women, we make change work for women. At itong simpleng pa-share nyo ng ating episode ang magbabago sa ating mga kababayan, sa mga tao.
Maraming salamat sa inyong mga insights at sa inyong mga ibinahagi sa ating mga manonood ngayong gabi. Talaga namang lagana pa rin ang kawalan ng hustisya sa ating lipunan, lalo na pagdating sa mga kababaihan. Kaya unawain natin kung paano natin tutulungan ang isa't isa bilang mga babae upang tugunan ang mga nagaganap na kawalan ng hustisyang ito. So simulan na natin ang balitaktakan at let's introduce our very special guests, of course. Our first guest is a feminist who earned a master's degree in women and development at the University of the Philippines, no less, UP Diliman. She is currently working at the UP Center for Women's and Gender Studies at the University of the Philippines as the director. All right, so please show some love to a woman I idolize. Hindi lamang sa kanyang sense of style, but in all of the things that she does, especially in her fight for women and gender equality. My friend, Miss Natsi Africa Verceles. Hi, Natsi. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Oh dear. Oh, okay, again, take 2. So magandang gabi po sa lahat and happy International Women's Day. It's such a pleasure for me to be with everyone this evening.
Thank you so much, Natsi. Alam mo, na-meet ko si Natsi sa pakikipaglaban natin.
Yeah.
Karoon ng hearing sa UP, hindi hearing, a press con sa UP Center for Women's and Gender Rights, I think back in 2019, para sa kapatid nating si Gretchen Diaz. At doon ko na kilala si Natsi. At talaga namang, di ba, isa siyang, siguro kung may magpa-personify ng word na ally sa ating komunidad, si Natsi yun dahil lagi siyang handang lumaban para sa ating komunidad bilang mga LGBTQIA+ people. Kaya maraming salamat, Natsi, and happy International Women's Day.
Yes, thank you for the invite.
We're very lucky to have you tonight, Natsi, and I'm so excited for the insights that you will be giving us this evening. Now, let's meet. Yes, definitely. And another member of our panel tonight identifies herself as a bisexual woman. She heads the IBM's Diversity and Inclusion Group and is a proud member of the Philippine Financial and Inter-Industry Pride, or PFIP. This is a group that aims to foster an industry that is safe and inclusive for LGBTQIA+ people. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary peeps, let's all welcome my dear friend, Jace Galera Robles. Hi, Jace!
Hi, Mela, and hi, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for the invite for tonight.
Yes, happy International Women's Day sa'yo. Itong pagkikita nating muli, bagamat online, it's so good to see you. How has it been?
Happy International Women's Day. It's been an eventful 2020, at least for me and my spouse. We have been graced with our son joining our home last year, despite the pandemic. So it's been a very energetic year so far for us. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to talk to you today, and happy International Women's Day.
Yay! I love it. You know what? I saw the pictures of Jace and Steph and their son. Sobra akong namamangha because this couple just signifies that the members of our community can become great parents too.
Yes.
So, Peachy?
Yes, and welcome po sa inyo. Siyempre, hindi lang yan, meron pa tayong isang guest tonight. Ngayon pala nagpapasalamat ako, tinag-unlakan niya tayo. No? Medyo nahihiya nga kasi ako na ipakilala itong isang guest natin, mga mare.
Bakit?
Kasi nga, hindi ko alam kung 1 hour din yung tulog niya. Hindi ako sure, gusto ko siyang tanungin, no, kung 1 hour din ba yung tulog niya kasi parang nagkaka-level kayong dalawa eh. Ako 2 araw na akong tulog, parang wala pa rin, ano. Anyway, itong ating susunod na guest ay very competitive sports player, basketball to be exact. Sorry. And she's also a LoveYourself volunteer and now part of Transcend by LoveYourself's #BreakFreePH campaign under its Women Empowerment segment. So feeling ko nakita niyo siya kanina. But she's currently buying, ito na to, actually dapat sabay kami, pero sabi ko mauna ka na girl. Kasi hindi ako sure, parang next year pa ako. Char. Siyempre, she's vying for the Miss World Philippines. Laban na laban. Siyempre, walang iba, Miss Asha Gutierrez. Hi, Ash!
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for your warm introduction, Peachy, as always.
One hour lang din ba yung tulog mo?
Nakatulog naman ako buong day, so palaban.
Bakit ganun? Pag pinagsama-sama yung picture natin, ba't parang ako yung puyat?
Huwag mo lang sabihin, Mars, di naman halata.
Happy International Women's Day to everyone and for all the viewers and for Love Yourself Philippines family. Thank you for creating this and for inviting me. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. It's our alam mo, padami ng padami episode natin, pa-English ako ng pa-English. Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, no, welcome muna natin ating dumaraming 20,000 or 16,000 viewers. 18,000 viewers na tayo. At syempre, batiin muna natin ang ating masugid na taga-subaybay na si Brian Joseph Barreto. Ayan, hello sa iyo.
Brian!
Please keep sharing, love and all, and also please share sa atin pong mag-tip. Magpapatip na ba tayo?
Mag-perform ka daw muna bago sila mag-tip.
Pag-uusapan natin yan. Malay mo sa commercial break. O, diba? Pero syempre, salamat sa inyong lahat, sa ating mga guests, and syempre sa ating mga viewers. But please, again, don't forget to like and share the Spaces Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter account at spaces.manila. So please comment down below and send dinner via Grab. Charing. Dahil nahihirapan na tayo mag-tip, dinner na lang. Ayan. So, simulan na natin ito. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So again, just to remind everyone, the Spaces MNL's Fact You is presented by Love Yourself and in partnership with Bliss, Pleasure, and Bliss. Siyempre, kailangan safe sex, kaya always protected.
Correct.
So, thank you, Kumar Peachy, Advocacy Mela, at sa ating mga nagagandahang guests for tonight. So, alam nyo ba, syempre may pa-trivia tayo, di ba? In the pre-colonial Philippine society, the babaylan was the major representation of the status accorded to women in a barangay or a barangay, di ba? Ang unit ng community. The babaylan performed vital functions and were recognized for their social and cultural leadership. So, di ba, kung may datu, meron ding babaylan. At hindi totoo na mas mataas ang datu. Pantay ang kanilang estado sa lipunan. Ang babaylan actually, di ba, derived from the divinity. So, may ganoong antas ng lipunan ng mga kababaihan noong pre-colonial Philippines. At talaga namang nire-respeto na kapantay ng bawat isa. But with the arrival of the Spaniards, the status of the babaylan was drastically transformed and later on eradicated for the sake of the Christian faith. So, binrand ang mga babaylan bilang witches, diba, na against the teachings of the Catholic Church. Kaya dinakip sila, ikinulong, pinaslang iba sa kanila dahil ang tinuturo ng simbahang Katoliko ay iba mula sa mga itinuturo ng pre-colonial Philippine society. Kaya naman, dahil doon ay na-introduce din ng patriarchy at bumaba ang tingin ng lipunan sa mga kababaihan kumpara sa mga kalalakihan.
Alam mo, Advocacy Janlee, napakahalaga sa akin ng imahe ng mga babaylan as a transgender woman because in the pre-colonial times, not only did cisgender women portray this role of being the major role in terms of the faith of every single Filipino back then. But also, transgender women like us could be a babaylan. So noong simula pa lamang ng panahon, pre-colonial times, transgender women played a vital role in the society. And this must be reiterated right now because at the time in which our womanhood is invalidated, kailangan nating ipaalala na bago tayo sakupin and before Christianity came to the Philippines, transgender women were regarded and respected highly in the society. And now, women also played important roles during the world wars. And some of our notable heroines are Gabriela Silang, which is the inspiration for Gabriela Women's Party. Gabriela stands for Gender Assembly, binding women for reforms, integrity, equality, leadership, and action. Then we also have Melchora Aquino de Ramos, who was known to be the grand woman of the revolution and the mother of Balintawak for her contributions. And fast forward to the 1980s, we put into the Philippines' highest government position our first woman president, Corazon Cory Aquino, who became a significant figure in battling the Marcos dictatorship. Ito nga, naging matunog recently ang mga katagang women can't be president. And for me, as a woman myself, it is an offensive statement because I'd like to believe that there are a lot of leaders in the society who are women and they are, kumbaga parang they are showcasing the leadership potential of every single woman because they are doing it with so much passion and with all their heart. Kaya sa ating Pangulo na nagsabi na women can't be president, let me tell you, women can lead always and forever. You can ask your mother.
Thank you so much, Advocacy Mela. Totoo naman. At again, we want to reiterate women can lead. Kaya nga andito tayo ngayon leading the way for the community to understand our stories, our plights, our fight for equality better. Hindi ba? So bukod pa sa mga nabanggit ng aking advocacies na si Mela, syempre another organization inspired by the Babaylands, or of course as the UP Babaylan, 'di ba? Na ating kapatid sa pakikipaglaban sa pagkakapantay-pantay ng mga karapatan. At isa itong pruweba na talaga namang tagni-tagni ang pakikipaglaban ng karapatan para sa kababaihan at para sa LGBTQIA+ community, particularly sa mga transgender women na katulad namin, Advocacy Mela, na ang pakikipaglaban namin bilang trans ay pakikipaglaban din namin bilang mga babae. At kaya naman mapalad kami at natutuwa kaming nandito ngayon ang ating mga cisgender sisters na guests natin tonight para makipaglaban katabi namin. So the history of the women's movement continues to flourish even up to this day, but we also have evolving issues that come with it. So given all of those facts, not to mention other heroic but untold stories about women in the Philippine history, the first thing I'd like to know is, and this is our first question to our guests, when did your passion in fighting for women empowerment and equality start? So we can start with Jays. So paano nagsimula ang pakikipaglaban?
Sure. I guess for me, it really started back in 2013 when Steph, my spouse, and I were thinking about having a child, creating our own family. From that perspective, we had so many considerations. How do we adapt together? How do we secure the future of our child? There were so many limitations pagdating sa Philippine government, for example. And for me, I thought, maybe if we cannot get what we need within the country, maybe let's start small. Let's start within our company. So I started advocating for domestic partner benefits within my current company. And I'm happy that we are one of the firsts to have it in the Philippines. And from there, that evolved into me thinking that if we can have it within our company, why not let's have it in all the companies in the Philippines? So that's when I started working with different groups, as well as working with the women and the PWD communities, recognizing the intersectionality of our fight for diversity and inclusion.
Nakakatuwa ang storya ni na Jays, talaga namang pinatunayan nito na ang pag-ibig, love transcends. Diba? Nagsimula ito sa pamilya nila, sa kanyang spouse, at sa pagkakaroon nila ng kanilang anak. At mula dito, umusbong ang kagustuhan nilang ipalaganap ang pakikipaglaban para sa pagkakapantay-pantay na naipasa nila at naisagawa nila sa kanilang kung saan sila nagtatrabaho sa IBM. At bukod pa doon ay hindi lamang sa IBM, kundi sa iba pang mga companies around the Philippines. As we all know, di ba, PFIP is one of the biggest organizations that advocates for gender equality in the Philippines. Talaga namang malaki ang nagagawang tulong nito sa ating for inclusivity in the workforce. Kaya salamat, Jays. Ikaw naman, Asha, paano nagsimula ang laban mo?
Well, I guess I started advocating for women's rights when I was around 12 years old, because this is actually the same time I started to want going outside my feminine role amidst the protests of perhaps my family or my friends by playing my sport, basketball, because it was deemed too masculine sometimes, and that there were a lot of concerns regarding like it may not be safe for me, but it was a part of me. I fell in love with it. So I continue doing it and advocating sports for women of all ages. And then around high school, I also started writing feminist prose and poetry. And these are like pieces to share with people who are experiencing the same thing, wanting to go outside the role of what a woman should be, because a woman should be anything they want to be. They should not be wrapped up in this whole idealism that the society will dictate to them who they want to be. So, and then last year, I also became a part of Transcend. So I'm very grateful for this. And I'm with you guys. So I'm very happy. Salamat.
Ayan. So, di ba, ang storya naman ni Asha, it started with her love for sports na, as she mentioned, usually associated with masculinity, with being male. Di ba? But then she proved that she is not defined by society's norms, and she can do whatever she wants, sports included, and excel in it as the woman that she is. And now we're very happy to have you, Asha, and Love Yourself and Transcend as part of our family. And of course, Natsi. Oh, I think you're on mute.
Hello.
Okay. I'm the oldest person in this panel, no doubt.
The
Diba?
Boy.
Ako pinakamatanda. But even if I'm the oldest, I wish I had started as early as Asha. Actually, I came into feminism quite late. Mga 20 years ago pa lang. Kasi I had to go through, other things in my life. So it wasn't really until I entered the Department of Women and Development Studies as an MA student that I learned I was a feminist. And that's when I started to fight for gender justice, gender equality, and women's empowerment, because I had to learn it pa. Before entering the department, I had all these questions in my head. Why was there so much poverty, inequality? Why did I see so much women suffering? So I needed to understand it first before I could determine what I could do to help. So that was really the perfect route that I took. Because when I entered the department, I was able to gain all those frames,
right,
with which I could use to understand the situation of women, poor women in particular, many kinds of women. And then I also did my doctorate in social development. So I had also a more macro view of societal inequalities. Kasi hindi lang naman gender, di ba? There's also class, ethnicity, religion, disability, sexuality, etc. So everything just really worked for me. But my base really was the academe. So
right.
that was very effective for me, because I'm the kind of person who needs to understand really well before I can advocate. See, so that worked for me. I mean, it's not necessary for everyone, but at its most basic, people have to understand the issues before they can advocate. But that was really my jump off point, was when I entered the academy. And then I was asked to join the department as a member of the faculty, until I became director 3 years ago of the center, which was really an excellent opportunity for me to expand what I could do, because it was really a platform. Kasi women's and gender studies, so I'm also able to advocate for LGBTQI rights. Diba? So I'm really in a perfect place, and I'm going to be around for a couple of more years because my term was just extended. So I thought, we need to do as much as I can while I'm still here. So that's my commitment to the members of the LGBTQI community.
Thank you so much.
Keep on fighting. Yeah.
Yes, we keep on fighting, di ba? Hawak kamay. At you said na you wish you were younger when when you started being a feminist. But also, I think my key takeaway from what you said is that you have to be educated, supported with the proper knowledge and skills before you can advocate for something, particularly feminism. And that's the beauty of your story, because you took your time, diba, to learn from the micro to the macro. And that's wonderful, because now you have this amazing platform, the UP Center for Women and Gender Rights, that you are able to utilize to help very many people from different walks of life and different communities. And we are very happy and lucky to have you tonight. So, again, ang galing, no? Ang guests natin, from the corporate to the academe to sports. So talagang well-rounded ang ating guests for tonight, and I'm very excited to hear more.
Yes, sports and pageantry to be exact.
Correct.
Diba? Asha is now fighting for the crown, and I am behind your back. I am supporting you, Asha, on your journey. But it's very interesting, no, Janlee. Alam mo, parang napapasmile ako whenever I hear their stories, because all of them have a common denominator, that it is experience and learning that allowed them to be in this route of advocacy. At I think I best relate with Natsi, because sabi nga niya, she started late. Ako rin naman, I came out late as a transgender woman. People know of my story that at the age of 30, that's where I began my journey to womanhood. And aside from that, I also had to learn what a transgender is, what we are standing for, why is this advocacy very important. And I needed your help, Advocacy Janlee, so that I could fully embrace the advocacy that we are in right now. And seeing through and educating myself through what is happening in terms of the issues on women, it brought me to a lot of issues at hand. For example, women are not equal with men in terms of pay at the workplace. There are a lot of transgender women who are being killed. We have, of course, our sister Jennifer Laude, who has had a very sad ending, as I view it, as a transgender person. And luckily, we have with us Naxi, who can allow us to open up our horizons. Bakit ba may ganitong uri ng inequalidad in terms of gender? Where does this come from? Ano yung roots? Ano yung ugat nito? At lalo na ngayon, di ba, parang we are hearing so many statements right now saying 2021 na. Why are still these things happening? So, Natsi, based on your experience as an advocate, it's 2021 now. Why do we still experience such inequality?
That's because gender norms are so obstinate and intransigent. Ilang centuries na to, di ba? This really is rooted in Spanish colonial times, when they introduced the European gender ideology, di ba, where women are supposed to be subordinate to men. And that's still around to this day. We're still struggling with that unequal gender relations and equal power relations between women and men. So that it's rooted in our colonial history. Because prior to the entry of the Spaniards into our country, the relationship between women and men was relatively egalitarian. I'm not saying na equal sila, pero hindi kagaya ng nangyari nung dumating yung mga Kastila na patuloy hanggang ngayon. That women continue to be discriminated against, exploited, marginalized, oppressed, and subordinated in all societal realms, diba? From the family to the community to the workplace, in schools, colleges, universities, in media, in churches, in the state. So everywhere you look, it's still that way. We were still fighting for genuine gender equality and women's empowerment. So it's rooted in our history, and because it's rooted in our history, it is cultural. And you know how hard it is to change culture, diba? Especially if it's, it's already fossilized, diba? Nandyan na. So it's really a daily struggle, and we still are trying to fight for just equality. And you think that equality seems like a no-brainer, diba? I mean, it's so non-contentious. Who would argue against equality? Pero on a cognitive level, people say they believe in equality, but when it comes to practicing inequality, they still adhere to those traditional gender norms, roles, and stereotypes, di ba? But when you want to achieve equality, you need to challenge all of those traditions that have been passed on through the centuries. And I think that's what people are a bit um, hesitant to change. Kasi kinaugalian na nasa kultura, di ba? So it's comfortable na lang for them perhaps to just fall back on how we've been doing things. But I have to make this point. It harms people, di ba? So hindi siya tama kung nakakasakit siya ng tao. So yun dapat ang iniisip. So hindi lahat ng tinuturo ng kultura ay tama. Lalo na kung merong napapasamang mga individual sa ating lipunan. Yun ang dapat isipin ng mga tao.
Maraming salamat, Natsi, sa pagpapaalala na hindi lahat ng tinuturo ng ating kultura, hindi lahat ng nakagawian ay tama. And I'm very happy that you've opened up that conversation because I think yun yung kailangan nating ma-imbibe sa sarili natin na merong mga aspeto ng ating kultura na dapat ay binabago, na dapat ay hinihinto, na dapat ay binibigyan ng karampatang pag-alam upang sa gayon ay maitama natin itong mga pagkakamaling ito. In your own ways, Natsi, given this, the historical became cultural and now it's 2021, we're still facing inequality amongst gender. What can be the concrete ways, mga simple at konkretong paraan in which we can try in our small little ways to combat this historical and cultural roots in terms of gender inequality?
That's really a good question because that's also the way to change culture and society to make it more equal, kinder, and more humane. Alam mo, I always say this, we still need to continue to raise critical awareness. We need to continue to educate people. Can you imagine we're still there? Because there are still people who cling to all these harmful beliefs and practices. Diba? These attitudes towards women and sexual minorities. Diba? So yun ang unang-una. And each of us can do something. Kasi we are social beings, diba? We interact with people, diba? Except ngayon, no, na pandemya. Pero even then, through Zoom, diba? So in your interactions with people, whether with your family members, your friends, whoever it is, people in your community, in your workplace, raise awareness. And then if you see something wrong, call it out. Diba? Then paliwanag mo, mali po yan. That's discriminatory. Kasi sometimes you need to explain to people pa rin. Diba? But I always say this, please do it nicely. Kasi we don't want to antagonize people. What we want to do is to win people over, diba? So if we're going to advocate, let's please do it in a way that's compassionate, okay? Because for all you know, hindi naman talaga nila alam kung anong tama o mali, diba? Yun nga yung role natin. So just continue to raise awareness. All of us are capable of that, even through social media, diba? So instead of always posting about your life, post about social issues, di ba? Raise awareness. Be creative. There are so many ways by which you can educate people. And it's even within your fingertips.
Yes.
Okay?
Lahat tayo ay may oportunidad na para maging advocate. And I like how you framed it. I like your life story as a way of framing it because you started with educating yourself, with getting all the knowledge so that you can be equipped, so that by the time that you are ready, na ikaw na yung magbibigay ng kaalaman sa iba, you know what to say and you know how to say it.
Right. Perfect.
Okay, correct. Pero meron ako additional question, Mare, kay Miss Natsi.
Go.
Paano mo ina-approach yung mga taong ini-ignore? Yung parang kahit na meron ka ng awareness, we give awareness, pinapublic natin lahat ng mga, alam mo yun, empowerment and everything, equality, lahat-lahat. Pero may mga tao pa ring ini-ignore, kumbaga ini-skip pataas na lang yung mga bagay-bagay na dapat nilang makita or dapat nilang mabasa.
That's a good question. Which while I was listening to that question, I've been trying to think of instances where I had a difficult time convincing people. And siguro fortunately for me, I've not encountered that. Siguro it's also because of my position, di ba? So kasi I'm the director of the UP Center for Women's and Gender Studies, so meron ng automatic halo effect. They think that whatever I say is truth. That's why nga I need to take advantage of that, di ba? Kasi parang she's the director, siguro what she's saying is true. So I've been fortunate. But of course, there will be people, siguro yung mga family members na they don't care naman what you do, di ba? If they don't believe what you say, they'll just not believe you. I always talaga, I try my best to explain. Pero I also understand that there are instances where talagang wow, talagang sarado na talaga yung isip, di ba? So ang suggestion ko sa mga ganong mga okasyon, rather than stress yourself, surrender na lang, di ba? Kasi you just select na lang talaga whom you can convince. Because sometimes, lalo na yung mga older generation, ang hirap ng baguhin yan eh. Di ba? Ng mga pag-iisip nila. So, but we need to still try, particularly among our peers, di ba? Younger people. And I'm so happy to see that our younger people are so woke. Because that's because of social media. Kaya nga sinasabi ko social media is a powerful influence. So if you can educate through social media, even by yourself, do it. And so many of the younger feminists I've spoken to also came into feminism through social media, yung Tumblr na yan. I had to Google what Tumblr is. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung Tumblr. Diba? Yung Twitter, alam ko. So also Twitter, Facebook. Pero see, if that is able to open people's minds, we should maximize it. Diba? Right. So yun, hindi ka aawayin. Kung aawayin ka, comments, pag comment, pwede mo naman i-delete. Diba? Pero at least, it's something that's proactive that you can do. So, I understand what you were saying na talagang may mga, lalo na yung mga religion yung ginagamit. Meron akong pangsagot pala sa mga yon. Can I share it?
Yes!
For the religious, can I? Okay. So, I was asked to deliver a statement as a cishet individual in a SOGI equality hearing at the Senate. Ito yung pangpanimula ko. Kasi, winarning na ako na right before you speak, the religious will go ahead. Tapos, basta ako after. Ito yung sinabi ko. I was Catholic school educated from preschool to high school. But the God I came to know is compassionate, kind, and intolerant of oppression.
Yes!
Diba? So yan ha. So kung meron kayong makausap na religious, meron na tayong script. Diba? Pati yung mga tita natin, di ba? Kung may mga tita kayo, normally kasi religion yung yung roots, di ba? So use that, okay? And then you can argue from there.
Yeah.
Diba?
And Peachy, I'd like to just add, to supplement that. I've seen work yung in terms of look at the context of the person who is talking, no. It's different kasi sometimes we have to end up respecting the difference in opinion, but there's always what's in it for them. For example, in the workplace, there are still a lot of close-minded people, for example, but we have to start talking about the business case, for example. How can it make people more productive? And then doon na sila parang, oy, oo nga no, meron palang advantage. If it's just a person who you're talking to, maybe they have talk to them about having a family member that is part of, for example, the LGBT community. If, for example, your child ends up being part of the community, how will you handle that? So yung ganong perspective, it changes kasi they are, kumbaga, a stakeholder in the discussion already, and you can convince them to keep on listening.
Right.
Thank you very much. Feeling ko Mara nasagot na ni Maring Jace yung susunod kong tanong. Pero nafe-feel ko, nadadama ko na ang bawat isa, para makuha nila yung equality, parang they take everything as challenge. Kasi parang they want to prove sa kahit sino man na kaya natin, kaya ng kahit na sino. 'Di ba? Para maging pantay-pantay tayo. I'll ask Asha. So sa industry ni Asha na ginagalaw, sa industry namin,
Anong industry yan, Mare?
Budol industry. Hindi. Sa industry ginagalawan natin, di ba? Sa beauty pageant or even sa sports. Meron meron ka bang na what do you call this, inequality na na-experience sa industry mo, Asha?
Of course, most definitely. There are different equalities when it comes to doing sports as a woman and doing beauty pageants. So when you do sports, you're always deemed as the weaker version of the male. And if you do try to partake in a sports with other male genders, you're always like, oh, she won't be able to do that because she's a woman. And so it's not really that bad because I mean if you can prove it naman na it's the other way around, it's actually a rewarding thing for yourself. But if you're a young girl, or maybe perhaps if it's my younger sister and I hear someone say that to them, I would be very concerned. And then when it comes to the pageantry, of course, the number one concern of everyone, and it's already like it's a cliche na. If you join pageantry, you're already commodified, you're objectified as a sexual object in itself. So my answer to this is always, is there something wrong with women wearing bikinis or portraying their own sexuality or sensuality in itself? Because when you say that pageantry is sexualizing women, you have to also consider that sexuality is a part of every human being.
So in that case, well, in that case, so
Again.
how do you change those concept na sabihin natin na ganun yung tingin sa pageantry and ganun tingin sa sports?
I have two choices. When it's either I engage to the people who say these things to me and feel bothered by it and let me in other ways like put me down, or I just look at the other people and other young girls who believe in me and show to them that it's the other way around, that there is a lot of positivity in both fields. When it comes to sports, you reward yourself by believing that you are physically strong, that you have self-discipline, determination, and the ability to work with other people. Because when it comes to sports, you need to have camaraderie and you need to have a good work ethic and all that. And same goes for pageantry. You work with a lot of people, and you also have to show your sincerity, your intent to not only help yourself but to also help the other people around you when you do these things. And in my experience, I would instead of me looking at the bashers and the people who would say that these are how it should be or the pageantry is commodified, I would just look at the other people who are helping me and just say thank you. Hey, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for making this journey a very caring and sincere and empowering segment of my life.
Taray, gusto ko yung end of my life. Yung ganun.
Segment.
Segment
Parte ng
of-
buhay ko.
Oo.
Thank you na nandiyan kayo. Positive.
Gusto ko yung part na yun kasi pang Miss World na yung mga statement ni Asha. 'Di ba?
Hugot
Pero balik tayo,
lang.
'di ba? Balik tayo kay kay Maring Jace. Syempre tayo, 'di ba, we're part of the corporate world, sa business world. So masasabi mo ba na iba yung question pero ibahin ko yung question. Masasabi mo ba na political sometimes yung pagiging unequal ng gender or kung anumang sabihin natin inequality yung nai-experience natin in a corporate world? May halo ba itong political, mga ganyan?
Siguro in my experience, I am blessed to be in a place that is not essentially influenced by political views, at least where I am. But in terms of the issues, I would say na we've talked about equal pay for equal work. This is just one of the major things. But in my experience bilang manager, nakikita ko this is also influenced by the social norms more than the political. I say that kasi for example, what's acceptable between men and women employee can be different. While it's deeply rooted, I can say that I've experienced men negotiating their salaries for a new job while women are just happy to get one. Yan yung mga ways or thinking na kailangan nating suriin. Like according to UN, COVID-19 has worsened gender poverty gaps and has highly impacted women unemployment as compared to men. there are also those small day-to-day things we'd like to pay more attention to. It's being heard that can make it more challenging. As in my experiences, there would be more men who are vocal about their ideas and their accomplishments, and women on the other hand, not as many. So a lot have to be prompted. Ideas have to be drawn up from them. So where would that result no? So parang yun na yung magte-trickle down to your role in the organization, eventually getting a promotion. So yeah, to answer the question, it's more social than political. I suppose.
Thank you very much. Ayan.
Thank you for ang ganda ng framings nila sa sagot nila, no. Si Asha comes from a background of being in sports and pageantry at the same time.
Correct.
The very almost opposites, 'di ba? We say pageantry is the sports of women nga eh, 'di ba? I mean, I hate to be traditional, but that's what society says. But Asha does both pageantry and sports, and that's I think that's a wonderful thing, because you are destroying the way people think that a woman can only be this and not that, diba? But you are telling them I can be both sporty.
Correct.
And kikay and beautiful and in a pageant. So you're destroying already norms, and I think you're setting a great example. And for Jays naman, similarly, the fight for equality, gender equality in the workplace, I'm sure it's not easy, but we're thankful that you have paved the way for IBM and for the rest of the companies in the Philippines to employ gender inclusive policies, and we look forward to what's in store for everyone in PFIP and outside. So with those being said, no, so nasagot nyo na how gender inequality plays a role in your lives and how you address them. We also want to go a little deeper and understand, why is it important to achieve gender equality? Bakit mahalaga na may pagkakapantay-pantay pagdating sa gender? Ano ang makukuha natin? What do we gain from this equality? We can start with Nancy.
Okay. Ako, I really am disturbed whenever we say that we need to strive for gender equality because it's good for national development. Alam mo yung, or it's good for profits, or it's good for you. Parang lagi na lang natin nililihis na it's always a means to an end. So ako, when I advocate for gender equality, it's because it's just and it's right for the people who need equality. Okay, so hindi instrumental, no? It's an end in itself. Okay, so I'll say that, of course we need equality because each person should live in dignity and each person should have the capacity to be who he, she, they, kasi baka queer, di ba? Here, okay, want to be, di ba? So everybody should have the freedom. That's the essence of being human, di ba? We all want to fulfill our own potential, di ba? To choose the paths we want to take, di ba? To be happy. That's why, and you can't achieve any of that without equality. If you're discriminated against in society, how can you fulfill your potential? Diba? How can you self-actualize? How can you self-realize? Yun lang ang end. Hindi dahil for another cause, okay? For another reason. But I'll also say, just because you aspire for gender equality because it will benefit you does not mean it stops there, okay? Because if you are empowered and you feel that you are not discriminated against, etc., that only means one thing. That means you have a responsibility to do the same for other people. Right. Diba? So yun. So gender equality is necessary because we want people to live humane, dignified, fulfilling, happy lives. And that's premised on equality for all.
Right.
Yun.
And you worded it so wonderfully. Pero to most of us, kasi especially I guess for most members of the LGBTQIA+ community, gender equality seems such a far-fetched idea that it, that as what you said, it seems instrumental to achieving another goal. But like what you said, it should be a goal in itself. And because it's a basic collective human right that we all should have. Sadly, hindi natin kasi siya naramdaman. Not every one of us experienced gender equality from when we were children. So parang ang layo-layo niyang konsepto na mahirap makamit. And well, in reality, hindi pa rin siya madaling makamit. But it should be something that we want to achieve in itself, as a goal in itself, like what you said.
May I add?
Yeah.
I will fight for LGBTQI rights for as long as I live. Okay, whether or not I'm in the center. That's my commitment to the community.
Thank you, Natsy.
Thank you very much, Miss Natsy.
Thank you so much. And ang ganda nun, no, na again, it transcends, di ba? When you think you have achieved equality when it comes to gender, then like what Natsy said, fight for the equality of other people because they should rightly experience the same. Diba? Like what Jace did in IBM. And so ngayon talo naman tayo kay Jace, no? For you, why is it important to achieve gender equality?
I couldn't agree more with Natsy. No, it's really the right thing to do. Although we are in a world where we have to have a reason to have it, so this is what I would say. We would have to understand the value of diversity of thought, especially in the workplace. Our different ideas and experiences can result to the greatest inventions of all time, only if all those ideas are drawn out. Like studies would show that LGBT inclusion has a strong correlation with strong economic growth. Ayun nga, unfortunately, we have to keep on talking about it in that way because we are where we are. Business performance and individual productivity is highly impacted by inclusion. An employee who cannot be comfortable about their sexual orientation, for example, in their personal life at work, they can feel unhappy, So they call it the cost of the closet, and it can result to being very exhausted. And if we fight that, norm, employees in the workplace can be, they say, HRC would say, 20% more productive in the workplace, for example. So there are those trade-offs from the business standpoint, the business impact of inclusion, but I would end it still at it being the right thing to do because everybody deserves to be happy and to feel included.
Correct. So the cause of the closet, correct?
Yes.
So new phrase I learned tonight, the cause of the closet. And ang ganda ng framing, no, from kay Natsy na academic, naging corporate and business centric naman on the side of Jays na na-apply natin na even if gender equality should be a goal in itself, achieving it also leads to other more productive and impactful things like productivity in the workplace, being happy in the working environment, which is also very important. Again, it's a goal in itself, but it's not bad to also lead to other good things.
Yeah, and just to add yung cause of the closet, a very quick example. When you go to the office, you think about your weekend. You think about how it went. But then if you're not out, for example, you have to change your story somehow. Your colleague asks you, how was your weekend? Sometimes those who are not out, they would have to change the pronoun that they use, for example. So just for our viewers, put yourself in that situation where you have to change your story and change your pronouns when you tell the story of your family. And imagine how that will impact your day at work. So, diba, when you start your day like that, there's already that there's that feeling na uncomfortable na you can carry throughout the day that you're working.
Correct.
And you'll feel bad because you feel like you're lying.
Correct.
Or you lied for that matter.
Correct. And these are unique struggles of LGBTQIA+ individuals, no?
Correct.
That non-LGBT people do not experience. So the cause of the closet, in the end, we are happy being true to ourselves. Yun naman yung mahalaga. And if that is upheld in the workplace, in the academe, at home, anywhere in society, then all of us will be happier. So, thank you. And let's go to Asha. Ikaw naman, Asha. For you, bakit mahalaga ang gender equality?
Gender equality. Hello, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
For me, important ang gender equality because it's not only a basis of like what your gender is, but it's about humanity and how you are as a person. Do you respect other people? Do you accept that they will have boundaries that you should not cross whatsoever? Because when it comes to inclusivity of diversity, you have to understand, though we may have different ideals, we may have different genders, or we may have a different sexual orientation, it does not necessarily mean that yours will be the only correct one. And that's the biggest mistake that everyone has. If you're not like me, you are already wrong. And if we just start negating that mentality, then everything will be better, no? And there won't even be a problem of, gender inequality.
Correct. Coexistence. I think the word is coexistence. It's very important to coexist, even if we have different lived experiences when it comes to gender, class, religion, race. Diba? We have to learn to coexist because at the end of the day, we are equals. We are equal beings and none is higher or lower than the other.
Yes, I agree with you, Miss Janlee. And also, I would like to go back to what Miss Natsy mentioned earlier, because I actually live the same motto that apart from us accepting ourselves, we also need to believe that we also need to accept other people. And as long as they're not harming us or they're not harming themselves, then why would it be such a problem in the first place, diba? So as long as gender equality is achieved, and then it actually promotes healthy individualism and then positive self-image, then it should be accepted, vice versa. And even if you're both like from different race, different sexualities, and anything that comes between.
Definitely agree. Thank you, Asha. Ayan. Kumar's Peachy.
Ito, ako naman, syempre meron akong katanungan dahil sana hindi umaakyat. Dahil meron tayong katanungan na ayaw nating palagpasin. Oh. Syempre tayo ay pataas ng pataas dapat at magiging pantay-pantay, no? Kung ano man yung ating pinaglalaban. Syempre curious lang ako. So who are the role models when it comes to advocating gender equality? So ano ang qualities ang gusto nyong ma-emulate? Asha, ikaw muna.
Okay. When it comes to qualities that I want to emulate for gender equality, number one is of course respect. I want to show and teach other people that even though we are different when it comes to our gender and sexual orientation, we have to respect it. That's number one. And then of course there is the acceptance. So it's sometimes a taste basis of who you will be attracted to and who you want to be with. And you also need to accept that you shouldn't resist, because I think that's also the reason why some people are closeted. It's just that they couldn't accept how people perceive them once they're out of the closet. And for that, it becomes a problem in itself. It's an internal struggle that they shouldn't be dealing with in the first place. Then for me, the third quality that I would like to emulate and tell people to keep on doing is to actually have this inspiring voice to show these values that will keep on promoting gender equality. Yun lang.
Thank you for showing values, no? Pero bago natin tanungin yung ating dalawa pang natitirang guest, tanungin natin ang ating mga viewers, no? Kung kayo who are your role models when it comes to advocating gender equality at anong mga qualities ang mga gusto nyong ma-emulate. So i-comment nyo kung ano ang mga qualities ang gusto nyong ma-emulate, no? Para mabasa natin maya-maya. So Miss Natsy?
Okay. As far as role models, wala talaga ako naiisip na specific people. Maybe I'll just say it's the generation that came before me in terms of feminists. Kasi they're still around, 'di
Mhm.
ba? And yung staying power, gusto kong i-emulate yon. Kasi nga sabi ko, paglalaban ko kayo hanggang mamatay ako, 'di ba? So yeah, so that's what I want to emulate. I want to be active for as long as I can, okay, until I'm in my deathbed. So yon. And then, ang importante na lang na qualities if you're going to be an advocate is you really need to feel empathy and compassion towards the marginalized. Kahit ano pang sektor yan. Napakahalaga yun. You can't fake it eh. Kasi hindi siya madaling trabaho pag nag-advocate ka. So you really need to be genuinely concerned about other people. Okay, so that's important. There has to be that sincerity also. Kasi otherwise, how will you persevere if you don't really feel it in your heart? So that's what I feel. I feel so um committed to doing what I'm doing. And I think that's what really gets me going. Tsaka OC ako eh. Pag may gusto ko, kailangan ma-achieve. So ito siguro hindi ko sure kung ma-achieve ko, pero I need to make sure that I do my best. So yun lang. So napakahalaga, you should not give up. You should just keep on going because there are people who are suffering. Okay, so hindi pwedeng hindi tayo kumikilos. Hindi po ba? So that gets me going. When I hear stories of people, women, members of the LGBTQI community who suffer, that really bothers me. It should not happen. So that impels me to work even harder. So
Feeling
yun.
ko naman, Miss Natsi, maa-achieve mo yan dahil alam ko
Talaga?
naman, yes, dahil alam ko naman na nasa likod mo ang lahat ng mga kababaihan, lahat ng LGBTQI, lahat yan nasa likod mo para tumulong sa'yo dahil nararamdaman namin ang commitment mo para maitaguyod kung ano ang gusto mong ipaglaban.
Soji equality law.
Yan. Nandiyan kami at hindi ka namin na bibitawan sa laban.
Oo. Sige, kapit bisig tayo. We're in this together, ha? Until
Correct.
we achieve
Yan.
our victory.
Tama. Miss Jace?
Ako personally, siguro I can say I look up to all women to be role models of each other. Why do I say that? Typically, those women who are already in the position of power have been outspoken, at least in my experience, no? I hear women CEOs have been fortunate to be in an environment where they were encouraged, they were heard, and they thrived. Perhaps I'm yet to hear stories of transformation and success. Kasi di ba nasabi ko na more men can be more outspoken than women. So I think it's really about the environment kasi that they thrive in. So I look up to my mentors who continuously strive for equality and work passionately towards something other than their day jobs. Kasi if you have passion for something else, that trickle down towards your personal success. In terms of characteristics to emulate, I will always say that those who really mentor and lift others up, they inspire me. There's a quote I've heard many times, no. Now when you succeed, you have to bring the elevator back down and lift others up. And it's a very powerful quote, no. Kasi you can't just be there where you are. You have to take the others with you and lift them and mentor them.
Gusto ko yun. Gusto ko yung pa-elevator.
True, di ba?
gusto ko yung pa-elevator na pag-angat mo, kailangan bumaba ulit para kumuha ulit ng ibang para umangat. Kasi baka diyan kasi 'di ba pumapasok yung mga crab mentality in everything, mga ganyan. Anyway, magbabasa
ako iba yung kunin mo, Mars, ha.
Ang problema ko nga baka hindi elevator yung kumuha. kaya minsan umiiwas ako sa liwanag. Pero eto, basahin lang natin yung dalawang comment na nakita ko galing kay Brian Barreto. So one of the role models in gender equality is Dr. Mira Ofreneo cause she is a pioneering feminist and LGBTQIA advocate. At syempre, sinabi din ni Axel Beltran, ayan, ikaw daw maring Mela Habijan. It's the passion, genuine care, and commitment in advocating gender equality for women and the LGBTQIA plus community. Heart, heart, heart.
Thank you, Axel. That means a lot. Maraming salamat.
Ayan, thank you so much sa mga audience natin na nagko-comment at nag-engage, and of course sa ating guests. So at ngayon naman, meron din akong isang katanungan para sa ating guests. No? Nasabi nyo na yung inyong role models and the characteristics that you want to have in advocating for gender equality. Ngayon naman, I want to ask, ano ba ang impact na gusto nyong ma-create? And what can we do to achieve? Actually, nasagot na to kanina. What can we do to achieve and uphold gender equality? So since this has already been answered, siguro we can focus on the first question. Anong impact ang gusto nyong ma-create and why? Jays?
For me, the ultimate goal is to not need to have these forums anymore. A world where we don't have to talk about how we want our rights to be equal, how we want our benefits to be equal. That really is the ultimate goal. But we're very far from that. So I can also add more to the second question in terms of what we can do. As advocates, as speakers here, we have a lot of things planned. But for our viewers, siguro yung mga day-to-day, no, that what we can do. Inclusive language is something that we can all look into. Kasi it deepens the ongoing inequality. For example, there's a story from one of our colleagues from before where she is the only woman member of a team of men, no? And whenever their managers will say, okay guys, let's do this, there's some feeling of, kasali ba ako doon sa tinatawag? Kasi guys ang sabi. So like this, if we can take this away and maybe more inclusive in how we call folks, that changes a lot of things. These little things kasi shape the norm of our everyday life. Be more conscious to include everybody, and it's also upon us as leaders in corporations or wherever we are to make spaces on the tables for those voices that have a lot of great ideas pero hindi lang nila malabas. Sabi nga nila, di ba? Minsan yung mga pinakatahimik, yan yung parang maraming ideas, yung mga pinakamagagaling. So we have to create that environment where they will thrive.
Correct. So ang ganda nung sinabi mo about guys, no, gender inclusive language is very important because we interact with people every day using language. And that's the way we interact with them, the way they see themselves. So as simple as changing guys to folks, to friends, to everyone, to people. Diba? Hi folks, hi friends, hi everyone. So it can already create a sense of inclusivity and for everyone in the room to feel that they are included and that they are not left out. And that already creates an impact, like what you said. Thank you, Jace. How about you, Asha? Anong impact create and what's the goal?
Well, the impact that I aspire and I want to create is to be, first of all, to be who I truly am and letting others be the same with my full support. So walang atrasa na I'll say, mamaya, you can do it, and then later I'll be like, maybe let's adjust a bit for the society. So when I say that I would like others to be the same and be who they truly are, it means that no matter what others will tell them who they should be, I would always tell them, no, just be yourself and that will be okay. Because for me, I don't believe in judging or negating the others simply because of our differences. So in that mentality alone, to accept that we are all different and yet we're still similarly humans kasi na at the end of the day, gusto natin na feel na ina-accept tayo, na mahal tayo, and respected pa rin tayo. Yun pa rin yung core need eh. Kahit na magkakaiba yung beliefs natin, there's this core need that we need at the end of the day. So doon na lang tayo mag-focus, I think.
Focus on the commonalities that we have. Because despite the differences, we still have commonalities. And diba, like what I think, ito rin yung paulit-ulit na sinasabi ni Asha, which is beautiful, that we thrive and we should thrive in our differences. Diba? Isn't it a wonderful thing na iba't iba tayo? Dahil how boring would life be if we're all the same? Diba? We're different but equal.
Exactly.
And Nazi, sorry.
Okay. So, ako, hindi ko alam kung impact or ultimate goal na lang. Di ba? Kasi everything I do is informed by that goal. I want to see equality, not only on the basis of gender, but also on the basis of class, race, ethnicity, disability, religion, sexuality, di ba? Sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression and sex characteristics. That's what I want to see. I want a world where there's equality. I want a country where there's equality. So, importante yon. Sabay-sabay yun eh. Okay, I don't see those identities and the systems of oppression in which those identities exist as separate. I see them as systems of oppression and domination that must be fought simultaneously. Kasi kung wari, there are women who are lesbian, di ba? So LGBTQI sila. There are women who are poor. There are women who are Muslim. There are women who are disabled, di ba? In the same way na there are disabled, there are lesbians who are disabled. Yung ganon, there are lesbians or bisexual trans women who are poor. So, hindi mo pwedeng hiwalay-hiwalayin yung mga sistemang yan. Okay? So, I want to see also people understanding this. Okay? Because for us to put an end to all systems of oppression, we need people working together simultaneously. And we cannot work together unless people understand this intersectional feminism, di ba? So yun ang ano ko. Yun ang gusto kong makita. Na pantay-pantay ang lahat ng tao. At merong full respect for diversity. I want a society that's inclusive, di ba? Where there's justice. Where those who need more are given more, di ba? And those who have more are given less. Yun. Basta yun. Actually, what I want is a utopia. That's the impact we want to achieve. Pero kailangan kasi klaro eh. Klaro kung anong gusto natin, di ba? So everything we do must be focused towards that goal.
Correct. Yun. And let's work hard to achieve that goal. We're with you, Nancy. I like what you said about the intersectionality of our struggles, no? Paulit-ulit natin yung sinasabi sa advocacy. You cannot say you are advocating for one struggle and not for another because as you said, magkakatagne ang lahat ng paghihirap na ito. Naisip ko lang, meron ba, pantay-pantay din ba ang struggles natin? Pantay-pantay din ba ang uri ng mga paghihirap ng mga tao?
Siyempre iba-iba. Kasi each person is located, di ba, in several axes, di ba? So kung wari ako, I might be privileged on the basis of my education, di ba? But I'm disadvantaged on the basis of my being a woman, di ba? So iba-iba eh. So we need to understand that people are differentially located, di ba? Iba-iba yung ating intersectional identities, di ba? Kung pagsama-samahin mo. So iba-iba yung mga struggles, hindi magiging pare-pareho. Diba?
Sobrang sakto, Nancy, yung mention mo of privilege. And that's a good segue to actually, all of us, we have to understand kung ano yung privilege that we have. Kasi we can use those to actually help each other. Like yun nga, no? I have the privilege to be educated, to have a job, to be in a workplace that's inclusive. But I know that my other LGBT equals or peers, for example, they're not in the same place. They don't have the same privilege. So how do I help them? Perfect.
Correct. So we have, as much as we know the struggles we are going through, we should also acknowledge our privileges because it will help us understand and realize where we stand in the axis, like what Nancy said. Kasi iba't iba yung position natin sa axis. Ang ganda ng axis, no? X and Y axis. Dahil nga, intersectional eh. So, X and Y. Ang gandang image ng axis. So, makikita natin kung nasan tayo sa axis kung malay tayo kung ano yung mga pribilehiyo at mga pagdurusa na pinagdaraanan natin. Kasi, mas makikita natin, okay, pareho kami na, meron akong isang trans sister pareho kaming trans, pero yung trans sister ko disabled. So automatically, mas mahirap na yung struggle niya. Diba? And you should acknowledge your being able-bodied and to be able to help your disabled trans sister. So ang ganda ng pagka-frame natin sa access na yan. Salamat.
Yes. I agree to what Miss Nancy and Miss J said. Na for Miss Nancy nga, na sinabi nga na we have to know our advantages and disadvantages. Totoo naman yan. It's not about being like confident or arrogant about it, but it's for you to understand that if you're more you were able to have the opportunity, then you can also and then it could be the other way around. So, yung kasabihan nga sa atin sa Filipino na magtulong-tulungan na lang tayo kasi hindi naman tayo lahat perfecto. So, I think you can implement that theme or motto when it comes to that mentality. And also when Miss G said nga na, yun nga, kailangan din natin malaman kasi para it's a way to give back. And not to put it over there, to be above or whatever some people will say. Kasi hindi naman puro ka-edukado ka, angat ka na. But it's just about you knowing na I can do this and maybe I can help others as well. So, ayun nga, tulong-tulungan talaga.
True, Asha. And in the sense of tulong-tulungan, di ba? By knowing that we have differences in our lived experiences. We have different struggles, but we also have different privileges. A nice way of looking at it is that we complement each other. Diba?
Exactly.
My weaknesses, my disadvantages and struggles might be your privileges and advantages. And we can work together. We can work with each other in order to lift ourselves up.
Kasi in a way, Miss Janlee, vulnerability is strength in itself because it makes you look outside of yourself to know na I need to be connected to something other than myself because that's the only way we rely on each other. That's how we grow at the end of the day.
Correct. Self-awareness is very important. Thank you, Asha.
At Advocacies, I am enjoying our discussion right now because for me, seeing us women, and I include, of course, our sister Peachy in the sense of womanhood, it validates my womanhood. It validates my being a woman because as I answer the question, why am I a woman? Because we all have shared experiences, and that shared experiences lead us into fighting. And I like how we've raised complementing each other because we can collaborate, and collaboration is always the key to success. That whenever we pitch in our energies with one another and show that my strength can be your strength too, we are geared towards the same goal. And I'm very happy to be in the presence of women whose goal is to advocate equality, not just for themselves, not just for women alone, but of course for the LGBTQ plus community. I am so in awe when Nancy verbalized SOGI equality bill as her goal. I am happy that Jays is one with the community, and Asha is also a great ally. So this spirit that we have right now, I am hopeful. I am hopeful for a future that will allow us to just walk with each other with our hands held, and we are on the right track, I must say. And that being said, of course, in the spectrum of LGBTQ plus advocacy, historically, most especially here in the Philippines, women were so crucial to the celebration of Pride because the first march in the Philippines of LGBTQ plus community happened on Women's Day. Nagkaroon ng pagmamarcha ang LGBTQ plus community at pagbabandera ng ating bandila noong Women's Day in 1992. That's why, for me, women are a great force in our advocacy. And now, ngayong 2021, looking forward, how can we position LGBTQIA plus community rights and women's efforts so that we could achieve SOGI Equality Bill, yung pagkakapantay-pantay sa opisina, yung sports in which everyone is regarded as equal no matter how competitive we are. Sa simula't simula, Babae, babae, pantay. Babae, lalaki, pantay. Babae, lalaki, LGBTQ+, pantay. How can we work together in achieving equality amongst all genders? Sige, I'd like to begin with Asha.
Well, kasi this is not only a gender situation nga, but it's more of a humanity act na yun nga, hindi lang tayo na we're advocate of women or LGBTQIA because there are also men who are abused or victims of gender inequality. So I wouldn't like to negate that as well because I've seen people and I've seen younger men in particular who go through certain abuses and it's an inclusivity of diversity like I mentioned before. So ayun lang, it's more on like yung awareness nga natin to have an open heart and a willing initiative to go after what we should be doing to help other people or all genders in general.
Thank you very much, Asha. I like how you recognize that there are also men who are struggling, that there are also men for fighting for equality, and we have to also see them. We have to make them visible because their struggles are also important. I am one with the house husbands being ostracized for being house husbands. And I'd like to believe what they're doing inside their homes is actually beautiful and benefiting a spectrum of a family. So thank you very much, Asha. Natsi.
Okay. How can we cis-hets, tama ba yan?
Yes.
No, so non-LGBT and LGBT women work together. Siguro, we need to understand the shared nature of our struggles. Because we do share aspects of our struggle. It's because of our, gender. Our gender identity, our sexual orientation, our gender expression, So we need to understand that our struggles actually run parallel to each other. Okay, that's first. Secondly, we need to understand each other's distinct struggles as well. Okay, kasi I find that there are a lot of women who still do not understand the struggles of the LGBTQI community and vice versa. Diba? So if we have to work together, we need to also understand that while we share similar struggles, there are also differences. Okay. And then lastly, we need to trust each other. Diba? Kasi importante yung trust. Okay? Kasi we need to see members of the LGBTQI community and LGBTQI community members should also see women as potential allies. No? So we need to trust each other and know that we can work together and we must work together. Diba? So yung pagiging ally ko, diba? Sana dumami pa, no? Yung mga katulad ko. In the same way that I know a lot of LGBTQI individuals who are feminists, who support women's rights, di ba? Even gays, hindi trans women, okay, mga gays, okay, for instance, or bisexual individuals who are men. So, yun ang talagang mahalaga. Can we just think of how crucial it is if we are to achieve our goals of equality, how crucial it is for us to work together. Because there is really strength in numbers. So hindi pwedeng hiwalay yung ating pakikibaka, no, at pagpupunyagi. Kailangan po tayo magsama-sama sa paglalaban ng mga iba't ibang sistema ng opresyon kung saan tayo napapaloob. Ayun.
Ngayon parang I'd like to see, speaking of parang goal kanina, parang what's our aim? Siguro my goal for the Philippines is to see a nation that is an ally of one another. Na bawat isa ay alay ng isa't isa. Kung ano man ang iyong kasarian, alay ka niya. 'Di ba? Parang kakampi, katuwang. And I think that will be a beautiful language, a beautiful goal that we're no longer women, LGBTQ+, or men for that matter, but we are each other's allies. Thank you so much for that, Natsi. And finally, Jays.
You've all said it perfectly. We have to be allies of each other. And we have to remember, we include our friends, our PWD community, our neurodiverse community. We work towards a common goal. So we recognize the intersectionality of everything. So it's been a buzzword for today, no, yung intersectionality. Kasi that really is the way for us to move forward. We have to speak and lobby about issues that concern our different communities. We have to promote inclusive programs of each other and also help focus the spotlight on each other as appropriate. Like ngayon, it's Women's Month. So let's focus the spotlight on women in the same way that by June, the focus is on our pride community. Um, ito yung perfect ano lang eh. I think we really have to work together. And in fact, a few of us have started conceptualizing and talking about building a national inclusion council that will be composed of the different NGOs that we have. Kasi there are so many NGOs that we have in the country right now working towards diversity, equity, and inclusion. But we don't seem to be talking more than we should. So this council would like to be in its holistic sense, cover corporate, education, LGUs, so that we can start talking to each other, start understanding our struggles, and lobby for each of our agenda nga, so to speak, in terms of equality. So yun talaga yun, be allies of each other and talk more and put each other in the appropriate spotlight.
Yay! It's always passing the microphone. It's very important that everyone is heard, everyone is seen, and more importantly, everyone is felt. So that when everyone is seen, heard, and felt, we all understand each other.
Correct. Bakit hindi na lang kaya pwedeng ganun ano? Na wala nang gantong diskusyonan, maging alay na lang ang bawat, maging pantay-pantay na lang lahat. Di ba? Parang ano ba problema nyo?
Oo. Tama.
Mars, dahil dyan, ikaw daw ang alay. A-L-A-Y.
AY. Iaalay ka namin for allyship.
May kasama ba tong bigas at saka barya? Pero hindi. Kidding aside. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat, mga women of the 21st century. So hindi lang kayo ang bulaklak ng bagong henerasyon, kayo rin ang mga natatanging punla na magpapayabong sa kamalayan ng mundo about gender equality. Ayan. At dahil dyan, syempre, please support Transcend by Love Yourself's campaign entitled #BreakFreePH. Ayan. So where you can see empowerment videos, syempre nandiyan ang videos ng aking kumaring si Mela. Ayan. Videos for cis and trans women led by Megan Young, and our very own, syempre ang kumari kong walang makakatumba. Charing. Mela Habi dyan. At syempre, Diyos ko Lord, ang aking nakapakagalang-galang na laging may hearing araw-araw. Si Maring Janlee, and also part of the campaign promoting medically supervised gender affirming hormone therapy or GAHT. Just follow Transcend by Love Yourself Facebook account or Love Yourself TV on YouTube. So mapapanood nyo rin po ito sa Love Yourself TV, ang aking HIV prevention awareness campaign under #SaferNowPH. Also, don't forget to like and share the Spaces Manila Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter account at spaces.manila. And please comment down below for more questions and comments about our episode tonight na hatid sa atin ng Love Yourself in partnership with Bliss for Bliss, Pleasure, and Bliss. Haba, di ba?
Mars, wala kang, hindi ka bakal doon. So maraming salamat.
Siyempre, meron din, kung may pakabog kayo, meron din akong pakabog, di ba? At talagang i-share natin ang i-share para lahat tayo bonggang-bongga.
Yes, thank you so much, Kumars. At alam ko medyo mabigat ang ating mga usapan ngayong gabi, no? Mabigat pero punong-puno, siksik at liglig at talagang very informative. Kaya naman, pag-aanin natin ng kaunti. So marahil, alam niyo na, ang ating favorite segment ngayong episode or every episode, ang ating fact or fake. So magsasabi kami ng statements at sasagot lang ang ating 3 guests kung sa tingin nila ay fact or fake ba ang statements na ito. So if you want to do a short description of your answer, pwede rin. So ready na ba kayo mga kababaihan of the 21st century?
Game!
Okay, game. So let's start. So statement 1. As of March 2021, 65 women have flown in space, including cosmonauts, astronauts, payload specialists, and space station participants. The statement is Amelia Earhart was the first woman in space. Again, Amelia Earhart was the first woman in space. Fact or fake? Asha. Ay, nakamute ka, Asha.
It's actually fake because Amelia is the first woman on air but not in space.
Oh!
How about you, Jays?
Yes, sinabi niya na fake.
Fake. And Natty?
Of course, fake yan.
Ayan. And ang sagot ay roll script. Charing. Fake. So, Russian cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova was the first woman in space who flew on Vostok 6 on June 16, 1963. But Amelia Earhart was the first female aviator to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. So, tama.
Yan. Napaka-battle of the brains ng segment natin tonight. Gusto ko talaga tong fact and fake, Battle of the Brains edition. Our second fact and fake question. Are you ready? The Philippines transgender woman who was elected in Congress was Geraldine Roman. She represents the 1st District of Bataan. Is it fact or fake? Let's begin with Jays.
Fact na fact.
Natsy?
Yes, Jerry was the first. Ever.
Asha?
Fact, she's also a known politician and a revered one in that matter.
Ang taray ni Asha talagang defending her answer with so much
Inaano
pride.
ka ba namin, Asha?
That's how a beauty queen answers, Peachy. You must answer like that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My bad.
But the answer is fact. Yes, Geraldine Roman, our sister, Ate G, was elected to Congress by the people of the 1st District of Bataan.
Correct. Si Ate G na ating guest din sa first episode.
Yes. Anyway, tignan natin kung masasagot nila to. Napakahirap nitong tanong ito talaga. Ewan ko siya. Tignan mo. Question number 3. One of the many aspects of being a woman is to bear a child. If breast milk is best for babies, malunggay is best for breastfeeding mommies. Facts or fake?
Ang daming facts, Mars.
Oo nga eh. Miss Natsy.
Feeling ko totoo siya. Kasi I breastfed my children for years.
Hala,
5 years.
hanggang ilang taon?
3 years yung girl ko, 2 years yung boy ko.
Wow.
Pero and I took malunggay tapos after a while yung capsule na lang kasi nga it's supposed to stimulate your breast milk production. So yes, I affirm that it's a fact kasi it worked for me.
Sa bagay, try ko nga yan kasi hindi magpa-breastfeed.
Kasi kasi hindi po pina-breastfeed ng nanay niya si Peachy kaya yan.
Puro Ayan. Jace?
I support per Nazi's affirmation. It's a fact, I guess.
How about you, Asha?
Factual because it's malunggay is high in calcium and iron, so that's good for producing milk, I guess. Though I've never had a first-hand experience like Miss Natsy po.
Sorry.
She's very scientific today.
Hindi naman to masyadong ginagalingan eh. parang sinasabi mo, Asha, na akin ang Miss World.
And we support her.
Yeah.
World. We are claiming
it. Supporter ako niya nung unang laban niyan sa Miss doon.
Yes.
Doon. Ayan. Thank you very much, Maring Janlee.
So, fact, di mo naman sinagot.
Ay, sorry. Ang sagot, di ba na-carried away ako dahil ang tamang sagot ay fact. So, malunggay improves breast milk supply. Malunggay is the go-to wait. Wait. Go-to galactogogue.
Galactagogue.
Galactagogue. A substance that increases milk for breastfeeding moms.
Ayan. Alam mo na, Peachy, papadalhan kita ng mga malunggay plants dyan at ng pakain.
Puro na nga ako sabaw.
Ayan, salamat sa pamalunggay mo, Peachy. At naway marami kang mapabreastfeed in the future. And syempre, thank you rin sa ating game and empowered guests and ating women panel for tonight. Ngayon naman, basa-basa tayo, Mars Peachy, ng comments, no? Baka naman may mga nagko-comments dyan.
Meron akong nakitang comment dito galing kay Dwight Albano. No, ang sabi lang talaga niya, napakahaba. Let's vote in. Diba? So sama tayo, kapit kamay, para makuha natin ang pantay-pantay na ano ba to? Pantay-pantay na
karapatan.
Yan, ganon. Pag-asa, pantay-pantay na power, pantay-pantay na pakikitungo. Yan, ganon.
Ayan, go Mars.
Ayan, at syempre, ako na pala. At syempre mga Mars, magpapasalamat tayo sa ating mga sponsors and partners na talagang pinagpapasalamat namin dahil sa Season 2 nagkaroon na po kami. Ang Spaces Manila's Fact You is presented by LoveYourself in partnership with Bliss 4, not 3, but 4, Bliss Pleasure Enhanced Lubricant, Bliss, and Camber Pharmaceuticals Inc. by Hetero. Ayan, Bliss Lubricant, baka naman. And also don't forget to watch and follow our The Spaces Manila shows. Syempre, Love, Sex, and Drug every Tuesday night. Her Story and Flourish Hour alternating every Wednesday. Kinks and Kweeens every Friday night. Queen's Noight every Saturday night. And of course, ang Fact You every other Monday at 8 p.m.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Mars Peachy. At sana po ay matugunan ng Bliss Lubricant ang kanyang panawagan. Ayan.
Samahan niyo po ng malunggay.
So, patapos na naman ang isang episode ngayong gabi at napakarami na naman nating natutunan, di ba? Marami tayong kaliwanagan at karunungan na nakuha, natutunan at naihatid sa ating viewers for tonight. So ngayong gabi, sinalamin natin ang kayang gawin ng mga kababaihan, cisgender, transgender, heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual, pansexual, at kung ano-ano pa. Lahat ng kababaihan. Binigyan din natin ng solusyon ang mga challenges na kinakaharap ng kasalukuyang mga kababaihan. Kaya siguro kung susumahin ko yung natutunan ko ngayong gabi, ang pinakatumatak sa akin ang kahalagahan ng empathy. Nabanggit ito ni Natsi sa unang bahagi ng diskusyon. No? Dahil for me, doon nagsisimula ang lahat. Kapag may empathy ka, mararamdaman mo ang struggle na pinagdaraanan ng kapwa mo. At doon nagsisimula ang pakikiramdam, ang pakikiisa sa nararamdaman ng kapwa mo para magkaroon ka ng willingness na mas unawain ito kung ano yung pinagdaraanan nila. Sabi nga ni Natsi, di ba? The desire has to be burning. Kailangan gustong-gusto mong tumulong. At mangyayari lamang ang kagustuhan mong tumulong kung totoo ang nararamdaman mo at huhugutin mo ito mula sa empathy. Hindi ba? At isa pa na natutunan ko ang kahalagahan ng pagtutulungan ng lahat ng kababaihan. Again, cis or trans, hetero, homo, bi, pan, asexual, lahat tayo kailangang magtulungan. Kung maikukumpara ko ito sa isang bagay, para tayong isang malaking puzzle. At lahat tayo ay maliliit na puzzle pieces na nagtutulong-tulong, di ba? Ang mga puzzle pieces may mga iba't ibang hugis yan, iba't ibang arko, iba't ibang uka na hindi pare-pareho ang itsura, ngunit kapag nagdugtong-dugtong, mararating natin yung bigger picture ng puzzle. Kasi nga, like what we said, we are different but equal. Hindi ba? Meron tayong kanya-kanyang karanasan, kanya-kanyang struggle, kanya-kanyang advantages and privileges. At kapag pinagdugtong-dugtong natin ito, matutulungan natin ang isa't isa. Mako-complement natin ang bawat puzzle piece ng isa't isa upang mabuo ang isang magandang larawan ng pantay-pantay na lipunan.
At nananabik akong masaksihan ang kabuuan ng puzzle na yan. I cannot wait to see a Philippines that will experience an equal opportunity for every single gender. Today is a very special day for me as a woman, as a transgender woman, because today I got celebrated for who I am. Today I got to hear points of views from Natsi, Asha, and Jays who are sharing the same advocacy as mine. Hence, I will reiterate, I am not losing hope because I have fellow women beside me desiring that one single moment in which we can all be celebrated. Ngayon, natutunan ko na historically, minsan tayong kinulong. And that's the cost of the closet. Historically, binihag tayo sa isang nasyon, sa isang kultura na mas mababa tayo, na mas mababang uri, na tayo walang karapatan. But along the way, we found ourselves, we found our truths, and we found our voices. And it is very important for us to use these voices, these truths, and these things that we have discovered along the way and empower each other. Because though we are individuals, we are a community. Yes, we are puzzle pieces complementing each other as mentioned by our advocacy, Janlee. And that will always strengthen us to this simple goal in which we just let the world know how women are crucial into making this world a better place to live in. After all, Earth is a mother, Earth is a woman, Earth is a society in which everyone needs to be recognized. Sa huli, hindi naman natin sasabihin na mas malakas ang babae kaysa sa lalaki. Sa huli, hindi natin sasabihin na mas maganda ang LGBTQ+ kaysa sa babae at sa lalaki. Kundi sa huli, ang sasabihin natin, bawat lalaki, bawat babae, bawat LGBTQIA+ ay maganda. And let's go for it.
Yeah.
Napakasarap sa puso ng iyong binitawang salita, Maring Mela. Pero ako, personally, I would like to congratulate first all the women na nasa aking harapan. Ayan, dahil nananatili kayo na nakatayo at pinagpapatuloy na ipaglaban ang karapatan ng bawat isa. So, di ba? But wag niyo pong kakalimutan. Think before you click. Charing. Talagang hindi maka-move on sa last episode. Pero seriously, no, women are an important part of our society. So hindi yan parang rocket science at hindi dapat yan kino-contest. So after all, we all once lived inside a woman's womb. So that in itself serves a great purpose to the world. What I want to point out is we are not born to malign women regardless of their experiences. We are created to celebrate womanhood because every woman
Kaya mo yan, Mars.
Kaya ko to. Because every woman, nawala na ako. Ayan. Uulitin ko na lang. That in itself serves a great purpose in the world. So what I want to point out is, we are not born to malign women regardless of their experiences. We are created to celebrate womanhood because every woman deserves to be happy, functional, and respected for whatever journey they may have.
And you are part of our experience, Mars Peachy, because you make us laugh at talagang pinapasaya mo lagi ang aming gabi.
Maraming salamat sa munting ngiti, tawang aking naihahandog sa inyong mga labi. Charing.
syempre, Mars, maraming salamat kung Mars, Peachy, and Advocacy Mela. Our episode tonight highlights the abilities and capacities of women to stand their ground. Let's respect them as they are, and because they are able and capable to fend for themselves. We are able and capable to fend for ourselves, whatever situation we are in. So we are very happy again to have our wonderful, amazing, beautiful women panel for tonight, Asha, Natsi, and Jays. We have learned so much from you, and we will always be thankful, and we're excited to build and complete that puzzle with you. So muli, ako si Janlee at nagsasabing, ang Fact You ay isang safe space for all women.
Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga sumubaybay sa amin ngayong gabi. Thank you very much, Advocacy Janlee and Advocacy Peachy, for another fruitful Monday night. And to all our guests, thank you for sharing yourself tonight. Ako po muli si Miss Trans Global 2020 Mela Habijan at patuloy ko pong isusulong ang karapatan ng mga kababaihan, cis man o trans, dahil ako at ang Fact You ay kaisa sa labang ito. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagsubaybay at magkita-kita po muli tayo sa susunod nating episode. Peachy?
At ako naman po, ang not yet a woman. I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. Na ang Baklang Kanal version 2.0, Peachy Roberts, na nagsasabi at laging nagpapaalala na think before na nagpapaalala na ang malunggay is a nanay's best friend. Naway marami kayong natutunan upang isulong di lang ang katotohanan, ngunit pati na rin ang karapatan ng lahat ng tao sa mundo. Anumang nanglahi, paniniwala, edad, at gender nila, pagkat, ayan, may biglang tumawag, at gender nila pagkat lahat tayo ay konektado sa isa't isa at ikabubuti ng isa ay ikabubuti ng lahat. So maraming salamat sa ating mga sponsors at sa lahat ng mga manonood na hindi walang sawang sumusuporta, nag-share sa atin at syempre sa ating mga guests dahil ito po ang
Fact You!
Season 2 na!
Good night!
Good night,
Thank you!
everyone!
Maraming salamat!
Happy International Women's Day!
Happy International Women's Day, everyone!
Ayan. Thank you so much, Asha, Natsi, and Jays.
Thank you, Miss Janlee.